life becomes extraordinary when a person refuses to shrink before age, fear, or hardship. A life that reaches 80 years, 90 years, or even 100 years of age, it is never accidental. It grows from a bright spirit, it grows from a curious mind, it grows from a heart that stays open to laughter, movement, and human connection. Through nearly a century of stories, patterns emerge. Patterns emerge. Joy keeps the pulse strong. Playfulness, it keeps the soul young. Memory, it protects the inner world. Relationships, they shape the outer world. The wisdom gathered across these rules, they rise like a sunrise, steady and warm. They remind us that aging is not a decline, but it is a widening horizon. Every fall becomes a lesson. Every passion from childhood, it becomes a compass. Every shared moment, it becomes a spark that lights another day. Life stretches long for those who embraces it with energy, humor, awareness, and love. Today, these lessons, they come together to guide us towards a life that is not only longer, that life is deeper, lighter, and more meaningful than we have ever imagined. Age, age becomes powerful when it becomes light. In films and in stories, people often play the characters far bolder than themselves. They bend their bodies, they tighten their voices, and they slow their steps. These performances, they show how age can become an act, a costume, a script that is easy to slip into and hard to remove. Real aging is different. Real aging is different. The world sometimes expects tiredness, irritability, and retreat from those who grow older. Yet the human spirit does not follow such fixed patterns. The human spirit stays curious, playful, and eager when we allow it to remain open. Even at 99 years of age, a person can enjoy laughter, movement, song, and companionship. Longevity, it grows stronger when life is embraced like a giant playground filled with small dances, light jokes, and moments of shared joy. A simple song, a gentle sway, or a smile at the right moment, it keeps a person awake to beauty of living. Playfulness is not childish. It is an oxygen for the heart. Health also responds to joy. People who continue to move, dance, sing, or even hum at a tune in their kitchen, they activate a kind of energy that does not fade with time. Moments of shared music, moments of light-hearted mischief between loved ones, they create emotional resilience. Even scientific studies, even scientific studies into extreme human aging, they still struggle to explain why some people remain strong and bright at 99 and beyond. The mystery often points back to the mind. A clear head, an active memory, and a willingness to keep learning to protect the inner life. It will protect the inner life. A crossword puzzle, a melody, a repeated lyric, or even the courage to forget fear and start again. It keeps the memory active, avoiding stress, limiting unnecessary technology, and choosing real human connection. It prevents the mind from growing dull. The body, the body may slow, but the spirit, it sharpens when nurtured. Longevity, it becomes a quiet partnership between attitude and action. Rules for living, it do not need strict form. Life changes too often. Life changes too quickly, and life changes too unexpectedly for fixed manuals. What works for one person may exhaust for another person. Happiness grows only when rules become flexible and when rules become personal. A long life is not created through formulas. It grows through awareness, it grows through adaptation, it grows through simple joy, adjusting expectations, listening to changing circumstances, and accepting the unpredictable nature of life. It opens the door to inner peace. Emotional resilience. It turns difficulties into manageable moments. Each day, it becomes a chance to reshape one's approach instead of resisting what life offers. The most valuable principles they evolve from lived experiences. A single story from childhood, a small failure on a stage, and a brief moment of reflection, they can hold a deeper meaning that guides a person towards strength, towards hope. These are not instructions. These are not instructions. They are reminders. They are reminders that life is fluid, and that heart must move gently. Every individual, they carry unique rhythms, unique joys, unique talents, and ways of coping with the situation. Living to 100 is not simply reaching a number. It is the art of sustaining delight. It is the discussion to hold on to curiosity. It is the courage to keep going when things feel heavy. It is the grace to find small wonders in ordinary days. When rules become your own, when rules become your own, simple, honest, and flexible, your own life expands. When age becomes a game instead of a weight, the journey becomes light. And when optimism becomes a daily practice, the future stays open. The future stays open, warm, and welcoming, no matter how many years lie ahead. The mind. The mind stays in when it stays awake. Memory shifts with age. Memory shifts with age, but it never loses its power to surprise. Short-term facts, they may slip away. Yet awareness remains. Many people, even at 99 years of age, they still keep their marbles and move with purpose. Researchers who study extreme aging, they still admit that the brain holds mysteries they cannot fully measure. Some people, they stay sharp. They stay sharp in their late 90s without special formulas. They respond to life. They respond to life with curiosity. They practice simple habits that keep the mind alive. They read, they solve puzzles, they sing, they repeat lines and lyrics until they flow with ease. These simple actions, they protect the mind, they protect identity, they protect clarity. A sharp brain does not depend only on youth. It depends on use, it depends on rhythm, it depends on repetition, and it depends on joy. It depends on limiting noise, reducing stress, and staying connected to real human conversation. A quiet room, a familiar tune, and a gentle routine that can guide the mind back to balance. Even forgetfulness, it becomes lighter when the heart stays playful. A person laughs at a missed word. A person laughs at a missed word and moves on. This attitude, it keeps the inner life strong. The body also teaches courage. The body also teaches courage. Falling is natural. Falling is natural and falling is universal. Every human learns to fall long before learning to run. Children tumble and rise again without fear. As they grow, they learn to protect themselves. They learn to protect themselves. They learn to shield their face. They learn to protect their face. They learn to roll into the fall. The world of physical comedy once relied heavily on this falling skill. Performers like RajaRao, Relangi, Buster Keaton, they perfected the art of falling by shifting weight onto their shoulders or tucking into a roll. These techniques, they reduce injury and turn danger into movement. They created beauty from collapse. In daily life, the same principle holds true. Failure, it comes without warning. Failure comes without warning, just like a sudden slip on unseen obstacle. A person who learns to fall with awareness, he raises faster. A person who acts up the ground beneath him, he stands up. He stands up with less pain. A person who keeps balance in motion, he avoids fear. This simple art, it becomes a powerful life skill. It builds emotional strength. It builds emotional strength. It softens the impact of hardship. It turns accidents into lessons. The body may hit the floor. The body may hit the floor, but the spirit does not stay there. The spirit rises. The spirit rises because it has practiced resilience. Memories from childhood, they often point towards hidden strengths. Many people discover their first passion at 8, 9, or at the age of 10. They paint something simple. They build a small prop. They act out a scene in a school play. They enjoy the thrill of making others laugh or the calm of creating with their hands. These memories, they stay bright even decades later. Early passion, it leaves deep marks in the mind. They shape the heart, they guide decisions, they return during moments of doubt. They remind a person of what feels natural. They whisper the truth of who they are. Childhood joy is not random. It reflects the childhood, it reflects the purest version of personality. When adult revisits these early sparks, they often rediscover a forgotten purpose. They reconnect with a familiar energy. They feel a sense of home. This return to early passions, it does not require a major shift. It can be a hobby, it can be a class, it can be a few minutes of practice each week. What matters is the connection. What matters is the feeling. When a person follows these clues from the past, the path ahead, it grows clear. Life becomes less heavy. The heart becomes lighter. Direction becomes simple. Passion becomes a compass that always points towards joy. A long life, it grows from a clear mind, a resilient spirit, and a steady connection to the joys of childhood. These elements, they create strength, they build courage, they form a bridge between past and future. They can help a person. They help a person to move through life with calm and confidence. When the mind stays active, the body learns to rise from every fall and the heart follows the passion that shaped it. The journey towards 100 years of age, it becomes not just possible, it also becomes beautiful. Life becomes deeper when people learn to hold their relationship with care. Bonds inside a family. They often grow uneven at first. One person carries more weight, another receives more comfort. One becomes the protector, another becomes the dreamer. In many homes, elder siblings, Elder siblings, they handle hard work, early mornings and cold winters and long nights. They handle hard work. While younger ones, they watch with innocent joy. The world outside, it remains harsh, but inside the home, even conflict becomes a sign of connection. A scrapped knee, a messy chore, a shared secret, or a loud argument. It creates layers of memory. Courage grows in the dark space of childhood. Fear first appears in small theaters, in shadow rooms, or in the face of a monster on screen. In the early 1980s, films like Purana Mandir, Purana Haveli, Evil Dead, they shocked entire generations. Even adults ran out of theaters in panic when the devil appeared. Fear enters young minds quickly. It fills the night. It follows a child on a long walk home. It continues as a nightmare for weeks. Yet every fear slowly becomes softer when faced with honesty. Daylight, it reveals empty streets, harmless trees, and bushes without danger. Memory learns to separate imagination from truth. Fear becomes manageable. Fear becomes manageable. It becomes a lesson. It becomes a lesson with the time the monster is no longer a monster. It becomes a misunderstood figure. It becomes a reflection of loneliness. It becomes a reminder that others suffer when they are rejected or when they are judged by appearance alone. This shift, it builds compassion, it builds resilience, it builds emotional strength. When fear is faced, the heart becomes steady, the heart becomes hard. When the unknown becomes known, life expands. And when courage replaces panic, the path ahead it becomes bright again. Human identity, it does not stay fixed. Our identity does not stay fixed. People shape themselves through trial and error. A young performer, he may begin as a magician with a simple kit, practicing illusions, practicing tricks. They learn to control, they learn to charm, they learn to composure, they learn how to hide nervousness with calm smile. Then life disrupts the act. A trick fails. A trick fails in a room of hundreds. An egg drops, it rolls, it cracks. The audience erupts in laughter. In that single moment, the world itself breaks open. A new one, a new one rises. Failure becomes a turning point. A rigid mask falls away. Authenticity steps forward. The person who once relied on perfection now embraces to play spontaneity. He embraces to play humor. With that shift comes freedom. Failures become a teacher, not an enemy. It creates a doorway to a more natural, confident, joyful self. Many people discover their true voice only after their polished act has collapsed. The new self often hides inside the world, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Life offers that moment when the heart learns to stop clinging to control and start embracing the. Then joy grows strongest. Joy grows strongest in the presence of others. A long life becomes richer when surrounded by people who share laughter, creativity, and rhythm. In high school, in small groups of friends, they form their own worlds. They invent nicknames. They create inside jokes. They play harmless pranks on buses. They find ways to make an entire marble floor vibrate with a single note. These moments, they build bonds. They build bonds that remain unforgettable. Years later, new communities, they form in creative spaces like writing rooms in studio sets. Writers, actors, performers, they gather with shared energy. They build stories together. They improvise. They refine ideas. They become a team. They become a team. They become a family. Even decades later, life offers new circles. Life offers new circles, a singing group, an artistic partnership, or a simple gathering of voices. A cappella harmonies, they blend separate tones into one powerful sound. When four voices, they created a chord that fills a room. Age disappears, fear disappears, doubt disappears. The body feels anger. The body feels anger. The spirit feels lighter. Camaraderie becomes a form of wellness. Connection becomes a life force. Community becomes a key to longevity. Creativity shared with others, it becomes a fountain of youth. People stay young. People stay young not because their bodies remain strong, but because their hearts remain surrounded by other hearts. Every human life, every human life becomes brighter when relationships are honored, fear is faced, identity is renewed, and community is embraced. These elements, they break life into the edges. They create joy that lasts. They keep the soul alive even as the body grows old. They help people live not only long lives, but meaningful lives. Life becomes clearer when people understand who they are and who they are not. Many individuals, they spend decades trying to fit into shapes that never belong to them. When the truth finally arrives, it arrives softly. It arrives softly. It shows that identity grows stronger when unnecessary layers fall away. Real confidence, it begins with a quiet acceptance of personal limits. It does not weaken the spirit, it protects the spirit. A person who knows their boundaries, they move through life with less doubt. They move with steadiness. They move with grace. They rise each day with the calm knowledge that worth does not depend on perfection. That knowledge is worth, it does not depend on perfection. It depends on honesty. It depends on self-respect. It depends on letting the heart breathe without pressure. Even determined, it becomes meaningful when chosen on one's own terms. It becomes a transition. It becomes a transition guided by peace rather than fear. A new self often what it waits behind old boundaries. It steps forward when space is created for it. Purpose becomes simple when it is stripped of grand expectations. A small purpose, it can carry a life for decades. A small purpose, it can light the path to 90, 99, even to 100. People live with regrets. People live with regrets because they live with courage. Regret, it signals motion. Regrets, they show that the person climbs, the person learns, the person grows. Life becomes more honest when regret is carried with acceptance instead of guilt. Joy flourishes when humor stays alive. The world becomes softer when laughter enters the room. Live television, TV, once proved how unpredictable life can be. Mistakes happened, lives slipped, saints collapsed. Yet these moments created unforgettable joy. They showed how playfulness It protects the heart. A single dance step, it becomes a spark. It ignites daylight. It reminds the body that movement is medicine. Sometimes people go wild with excitement, and sometimes they go a little too far. Even that becomes part of the fun. Play, it keeps the spirit young. A person who commits to play becomes a person who refuses to age on the inside. Music, it strengthens the power. When someone starts a small band or finds a skilled DJ who brings the right rhythm, right atmosphere, it changes the entire atmosphere. A simple beat, it fills the air with life. Even watching TV, it becomes a playful art when the mind joins the experience with sharp attention. Relationships, they deepen the meaning of long life. A family stands as the first circle of strength. Speaking of one's family during hard time, it becomes a mark of loyalty. It becomes a sign of courage. When storms arrive, when storms arrive, loved ones depend on those who bring calm, clarity, and protection. Bonds grow stronger through shared difficulties. This kind of bonding, it forms invisible threads that holds people together even across years of separation. Some family members, they require more patience. Some require forgiveness. Every household, they carry its own rhythm. Every relationship, they carry its own story. Memory protects what is beautiful. It holds the good moments close. It slowly loses the grip of painful ones. This selective memory, it becomes an act of survival. It becomes a path to peace. Clearing the air after conflict, it becomes a form of emotional care. It lifts invisible weight from the heart. It breathes fresh life into connections. As age advances, loneliness, it tries to whisper fear, but strong relationship, they silence that voice. They fill life with warmth. They remind every person that they will not walk alone, even in their final chapter. Love, it deepens further. Love deepens further through true companionship. A partnership built on mutual respect, shared laughter, and consistent support, it becomes a lifelong shelter. It becomes the quiet force that keeps someone active, curious, and joyful well into their advanced years. A life that rises to 100, a life that rises to 100 years of age. It does not grow from achievements alone. It grows from self understanding. It grows from humor. It grows from creativity. It grows from loyalty and deep human connection. It grows from choosing authenticity over pressure, joy over heaviness, and love over isolation. It grows from ordinary moments treated with reverence. These choices, they keep the heart youthful. They keep the mind awake. They keep the spirit strong. They help a person not only live long, but live well. Work becomes meaningful. Our work becomes meaningful when it is not tied to the dream of one perfect moment. Many people wait. Many people wait for a big break, a miracle, a sudden spotlight that transforms everything. Yet real progress grows from steady practice. It grows from showing up. It grows from showing up even on quiet days when no one notices. It grows from the small piece of craft that a person sharpens again and again. Every performer learns that their bit becomes strong only through repetition. Every worker learns that excellence arrives through patience. A good boss, a good boss may be absent. A bad boss may appear. A bad boss may appear. Yet, great work continues. Great work continues because it comes from within, not from approval. Life rewards those who stay committed even when circumstances remain uncertain. When people push themselves into roles that feel unfamiliar, they stretch their potential. They play against time. They discover hidden strengths. They expand their own boundaries and they create new version of themselves. A life, a life lived with creativity. It refuses to call cut. It refuses to stop time. It refuses to stop exploring. Even teaching becomes a source of growth. A simple lesson offered to someone else, it becomes a mirror. It shows what the teacher truly knows. It reveals gaps. It shapes wisdom. Teaching becomes learning in disguise. Teaching becomes learning in disguise. A long life asks for gentle care of the body. Movement, it becomes a signal of hope. The gym, it becomes more than a room of machines. It becomes a place where the heart stays strong and the muscles stay big. Even a few mornings, each week, they create a rhythm that supports health far into old age. Balance becomes part of the people learn new ways to fall. New ways to fall, not to fail, but to survive. They roll instead of crash. They protect instead of panic. Reading becomes another form of health. Books, they nourish the mind while the eyes still see clearly. They build a treasury of knowledge that supports the spirit when age dims the sense. The outer posture, it may bend, but the inner posture, it stays tall. Strength, it comes from inside. Humility, it becomes necessary too. There comes a day when handling over the car keys, it becomes an act of love, not defeat. Safety, it becomes more important than pride. Peace, it becomes more important than control. Thoughts about the afterlife, our deep thinking about the afterlife, it wait patiently for another time. Wait. Life here deserves full attention. Life here deserves complete presence. Hope belongs to the moment at hand. Memory becomes a bridge across the years. Some stories come easily. Some stories come easily. Others weigh heavy on the chest. Speaking the hardest stories, they bring religions. It removes shadows. It clears space inside a heart. Legacy, it becomes something fluid. Legacy, it becomes something living. It changes when perspective changes. A person reimagines who they are through honest reflection. They look at their past without fear. They remember with truth, not with illusion. They relive warm moments. They relive warm moments with gratitude. They hold difficult moments with clarity. Each memory, it becomes a thread in a long taste. Time passes quickly. Revealing why one can become a gift that strengthens identity. It connects generations. It preserves lessons. It honors a life lived with depth. Wisdom also grows. Wisdom also grows from small acts of caution, reading the fine print. It protects people from unnecessary harm. Seeking a second opinion. Seeking a second opinion and even a third or fourth. It protects the body and mind from rash decisions. Trusting machines. Trusting machines without awareness. They lead to confusion at best and danger at worst. Calm attention keeps life smooth. Patterns in problems, they begin to emerge when the mind stays patient. Seeing the same mistakes appear again, it becomes a sign to shift direction. Shame becomes a teacher in these moments. It becomes a quiet guide. It becomes a quiet guide that points the way towards better choices. When people learn from shame rather than hide from it, the heart becomes lighter. Growth becomes steady. Joy completes the journey. Joy completes the journey. Celebrating simple holidays, it brings light even in difficult seasons. Festivals. We celebrate festivals. Festival becomes meaningful not through abundance, but through imagination. People create warmth. People create warmth with what they already have. They make something magical from a simple ribbon. Children gather, families laugh, traditions grow. A backyard slide becomes a monument of joy. It pulls grandchildren towards the home like a bright wing. A small costume, even one shaped like a cheerful dome. It becomes a symbol of creativity that never fades with age. These festival rituals, they keep the soul alive. They stretch time. They carry love from one generation to the other generation. A long life is not only measured in years, but in celebrations. It is measured in the simple moments that shake the heart awake with joy. When work becomes purpose, when movement becomes health, when memory becomes wisdom, when joy becomes a daily choice, life grows long. Life grows long, life grows strong. A person who lives this, the person who lives this or this way, it does not simply reach 100. They arrive at there growing with meaning. A long life is not simply counted in years. It is measured in clarity, courage, and connection. It is shaped by the ability to rise after every fall, to laugh in the middle of uncertainty, to speak honestly, to forgive gently, and to remember with truth. It grows stronger. It grows stronger with movement. It grows sharper with curiosity. It grows richer with companionship. And it grows lighter with celebration. When purpose becomes simple, when joy becomes daily, when the heart stays open, age, it loses its weight because hope becomes stronger than time. These rules, they show that anyone can create a life that stretches far beyond expectations. A life that does not grow old on the inside. A life that carries meaning to the very last breath. A life that stands tall, steady, warm, and alive all the way to 100